In Google Sheets, there's a really cool way that we can combine text from two different cells and put them together. For example, let's say that we have a column of first names and a column of last names, and we want to combine it together to make a full name. Or maybe we know that a company's email setup is their first dot last name, followed by maybe something like @caspercollege.edu or their company domain. How can we combine those together? So we combine them using the and symbol here. So let's go ahead and dive into how do we actually do that. So we're going to come in here and we're going to actually use cell referencing with the and symbol in order to get this done. So what we're going to do is we're going to say equals. We're going to cell reference that very first cell that we want to. And then I'm going to use on my computer Shift 7. And what I'm looking for is that and sign, that and symbol right there, right above my mouse, right after this A2. And then I can simply click on the other cell that I'm wanting to cell reference as well and press enter. And then it asks me, do I want to autofill? So I'm going to go ahead and autofill it. So basically, I just combined the first and last name across all four of these individuals right there. But what do you notice that's kind of wrong with it? Well, usually whenever we see a first and last name, there's a space in between. So how do we add a space? So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go ahead and add that space in there. I'm going to delete this second cell reference. Actually, I'm going to start right here in this very top one. I'm going to delete this second cell reference. And I'm going to do quotation, space, quotation. So basically what I just told right there is I'm going to say take cell A2 and a space. Because what I'm doing is I'm just putting a space in between two quotations and saying read that as a space. Another and sign. Again, that's Shift 7 on my computer. That second cell. Now I press enter. Now I have one space in between and I can drag that down as well. So basically all I did is I'm using the and sign as well as some space in between. Now what if I'm in a company like I was saying and everybody's email is their first dot last name followed by this domain right here. So how can we use this to our advantage? So we're going to use that same situation. We're going to use cell referencing. We're going to say equals that first cell. Now I want to add a period in here. Remember, it's first dot last name or first name period last name. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with that space, only instead of a blank space, I'm going to put a period in there. So I'm going to add my and sign, open quotation, a period, and the close quotation. And then I'm going to add another and sign, and I'm going to cell reference that right there. Now, I want to go ahead and add that domain in there as well. So I'm going to add another and I'm going to cell reference this domain right there. Now, before we go any further, we're going to lock in this domain. We're going to lock in that cell referencing @caspercollege.edu. Remember, that's going to be on your keyboard F4. If you're using a laptop, that might be FN F4. But I just pressed F4, and I just want to throw those dollar signs in front of the letter in front of the number. To where now, the way that looks is A2 is not locked in, it's not absoluted, to where as we drag down, A2 is allowed to move. This is just text right here. Anything that we put in between quotations, that is just text. It's going to be read as text in these formulas. So it's just going to put a period in there. We don't need to do anything there. B2, our last names, are going to change, so we don't want to lock them in. But this at caspercollege.edu, it is going to change, so we want to lock it in. So I press enter. And then I can drag that down. And now we've just generated these 4 emails. As long as all of those emails are relatively the same, we just generated all of those emails that quickly. Now, let's look at another situation where we might use this. Let's say, for example, we're dealing with a cropland where we're producing both corn and beets, and we've got different fields. So maybe we have field 105. All of field 105 is in corn. But maybe we have we have one field named 110 or 110, but half of it's in corn and half of it's in beets. And then we have field 118 and it's all in beets. So we need to we want to go ahead and give each one of these a unique identifying factor. Well, we cannot go just off of field number. We can't go with a unique identifying factor off of just field number because we have two 1010s here. We can't do it off of just crop types because we have two different corns and two different beets. But if we combine the field number with the crop type, then we get a unique identifying factor. For example, we'll only have one 105 corn, only one 110 corn, only one 110 beets, and only one 118 beets. So let's go ahead and combine those. Let's use that same principle. So we're going to use cell referencing. We're going to cell reference this G2, throw in our and sign, and cell reference the H2. Now that we've combined those, it's asking, do we want to autofill? I'm not going to autofill it because I'm going to show you. I'm going to put my mouse in that lower right-hand corner, and then I'm going to actually double-click on this one, and it's going to automatically fill. That would be the same thing as if I took my mouse, clicked right here, and just drug down. It does the same thing if you just hover your mouse in the lower right-hand corner and double-click. So, where's another place that we can use this? Another really good place that we can use this is if we're combining addresses. For example, oftentimes you'll see city, state, and zip code are all split up, but yet whenever we go to print off letters or something like that, they're all together. So we can say city, state, zip, and maybe we want to add all of those together. So I'm going to do that, and typically they're separated by a comma. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight my very first city. I'm going to use the and sign, and now I need to add a comma and a space in there. So that's just going to be a text. A comma and a space is going to be text, so I need to put in quotations. So open quotation, comma, space, close quotation. Now I need to use another and sign. We're going to add the state. Let's add it, and then we're going to need another and sign. Anytime that we add another cell or another set of text, there needs to be an and sign separating the two, or an and sign between the two. So I need to add another comma, space, another and then the zip code. And then I can drag that down. And that quickly, instead of having to retype all this out with quotations and run the risk of messing up, I just basically said, add them together. All right, computer, go ahead and do your stuff. Now, what if we're dealing with some formulas here? And these are some formulas you've seen way back in the beginning of the class, where we're talking about using things like month and day and today to separate out our dates. And maybe we've got month, day, and year separated out, and we need to add those back together. So we can do this a couple of different ways, and I'm going to show you probably just one way. Whenever I like my dates, I typically put my dates in basically month slash day slash year. Something like that. The format with basically month, day, and year, and I'm going to put forward slashes in between mine. That's just typically how I write my days. So I want to combine these three cells into one date. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say equals month. I'm going to throw in my and sign, open quotation, and forward slash. I want to throw that forward slash in there. And then I'm going to say and. I'm going to go my day. Let's do another and. Every time we cell reference or we type in some kind of text, we need to add another and sign. We're going to do another forward slash, another and we're going to add that. Now we have effectively combined our days together to where we have month, day, and year, and all in forward slashes. And essentially, that's how you're going to be able to use the and sign. And I tried to show you some other examples of actually how you can use an and sign and why you might actually want to use that.